Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry. A sentence that the transcription algorithm seems to really like. Katt Williams has a new special on Netflix. You know, Netflix, can we not do this on Tuesday? I feel like Tuesday is just, for some reason, the worst night to watch comedy specials. You'd think I'd be home, but I was watching the Knicks last night, so I didn't get to this yet. But on Big Boy TV, he said, "Let me explain something to you. I'm not scared to say nothing. I'll say it." He was talking about his appearance in 2024 on the Club Shay Shay podcast. You may remember that Katt took no prisoners. He said that appearance was carefully planned, designed to provoke a reaction without fully detonating careers. Katt explains the knockout punches were taken out. Katt was asked about P. Diddy parties. Katt said, "People indeed do ask, how do you know what goes on at the P. Diddy party if you weren't at the P. Diddy party?" They would have these parties in Hollywood Hills, and they'd have a parking lot where they would shuttle people up, so everybody would meet in this parking lot. They would send shuttles down. I was never invited to the parties, but I was invited to the parking lot because I knew the people who ran the shuttle service. I'd go to the parking lot, I'd watch them all go up there, and I would just be on the car having a grand old time, smoking and laughing, watching everybody going. I would see all these big-time Hollywood men that I just watched go up there. They all came down off the shuttle, looking sad in their eyes, all of them wearing Sean John and looking oily. Their shoelaces were always untied. Then they'd get in their car, and they would drive off standing up. Okay, then. Bob Saget getting a documentary. The Bob Saget documentary explores the duality of a man known to millions as America's dad on TV, while simultaneously being a raw and unfiltered stand-up comic on stage, built from intimate access to family and fellow comics, rare home videos, and ever-before-seen footage. The Bob Saget documentary will reveal the complex life, devastating losses, and enduring kindness behind the laughter. No date yet. Wow, Saget has gone 4 years already? That is stunning to me. I feel like that news just happened, not too long ago. I met Bob once. He was super cool. He came up to visit us at Sirius, and he needed to make a phone call, and I let him use my office. So I have just this wonderful memory of me, killing time in the hallway, talking to some coworkers about the Mets, and seeing Bob Saget sitting at my desk using my phone. Cool guy. Bill Maher is upset that his relationship with Jimmy Kimmel has gone sideways. You may recall that Bill Maher slammed Mrs. Kimmel. Mrs. Kimmel had revealed that she had lost family relationships over their politics. On the Club Random podcast, Bill Maher said Kimmel is, quote, very mad at me. Maher said to his guest, Adam Carolla, "I know you're close to him. I hope you tell him that, I'm sorry that they got bent out of shape. I don't think I did anything wrong. We can have disagreements." Maher insisted it's Kimmel who is in the wrong. According to Maher, "My tribe is supposed to be the left, but these are the people who just can't talk to you unless you're exactly there. Jimmy, I'm sorry. I think this is one of the nicest guys that did a mea culpa when we exchanged emails, not about what he was complaining about, but just saying sometimes a little brash. When they compare me with the other late-night guys, I'm like, I'm not like you guys. I'm not. You could all exchange your monologues, all of you, and no one would know the difference in tone. Whereas me, I'm not there. I just don't buy into the left-wing BS. I never stop making fun of the right-wing BS at all. If that's not good enough for you, then I think you're the a-hole. And I don't think Jimmy's an a-hole. I think he's a great guy. And it bugs me that because of what the latest thing was, we may never talk." Chris Fleming getting an HBO Max special. So I think this is a Max special. I've talked about this in the past. HBO, that you've totally confused your brand, which Netflix is going to do with these quote-unquote podcasts, by the way. You've totally confused your brand. So to me, living on Old Man Mountain, something on Saturday is an HBO special, something on Friday is a Max special. Chris Fleming, who I love, is getting a Friday special. It is called Chris Fleming Live at the Palace. It will premiere 10 p.m. East and West, Friday, February 27th. Live at the Palace was filmed where, everybody? Say it with me. The Palace Theater. That's right, the one in Chicago. We're told Chris Fleming bounds across the stage, sharing his takes on masculinity, conga lines, Trader Joe's, Oreos, NPR, dog breeds, and more. Now, I'm fascinated with the timing. So is the Friday night slot when you get Chris Fleming and Sarah Sherman and the quirky stuff, which is fine, because that would be a brand. I would be totally down with Fridays at 10 being the quirky stuff. Don't go throwing Nate Bargatze on Friday night at 10. He's Saturday night at 10. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Chris Fleming said, "I hereby decree my first HBO special will soon be available for you to consume. Please enjoy and feel free to dance along. Thank you, and thank you, HBO, 2 exclamation points." Nina Rosenstein is HBO's EVP programming, late night and specials, and PR people love to have a quote from the executives. So Nina, or someone in Nina's name, came up with this sentence. Chris brings it full force to this special. Once you've seen him, nothing else quite compares. His jokes are exquisitely precise and his physical comedy is so borderline acrobatic that you discover something new to laugh at every time, whether it's a perfect compression of a crab walk or an intricate joke about Tillamook cheese. His work is a masterclass in and of itself. I wonder how long they worked on that quote. In The Atlantic, David Sims writes, Pete Davidson's charm is working against him. David Sims got into one of my favorite current topics, which is the Pete Davidson Show, which, say with me, is clearly not a podcast. Sims writes, the first question to confront when considering the Pete Davidson Show, a new Netflix series that the streamer is calling a video podcast, is, what is a podcast? Sims says, I would argue that podcasts should always involve a dedicated feed you can listen to on your phone. The Pete Davidson Show does not have that. A cynic might wonder if branding the Pete Davidson Show a podcast is just a way for the streaming empire to avoid paying for the kind of unionized crews and production staff a talk show demands. Anyway, once we get over that, let's review the show. David Sims says of Pete Davidson as a host, he's casual to a fault. He's prone to slouching in his chair, ripping 1,000 cigarettes, and reminiscing about various awkward interactions he and his guests have had at parties over the years. David's inexperience becomes obvious when seated across someone much better versed in the medium. Episode 2 features Charlemagne the God, a seasoned radio personality whose comfort and facility with the format forces Davidson to keep up. Sims writes, maybe Davidson can grow into the gig. Very few hit podcasts emerge from the gate fully formed, but the Pete Davidson Show, which I'll point out, is not a podcast. It's a television show on Netflix. I'll let the union fight their own battles, but it is not a podcast. Sims writes, the Pete Davidson Show is a particularly rough lump of clay. The garage setting riffs on Maron's format, but the space is devoid of any notable physical objects for guests to bounce off. Nothing like Maron's frequently remarked upon tchotchkes or guitars. Davidson's chat with Kelly has no structure, no segments, and no particular gimmick. I've been there. That's some executive telling Pete Davidson, you could do whatever you want. And believe me, I've been down this a zillion times about, we don't need a format. We just talk about, you have to put a format on things or you just have a mess. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. You have to have a format. This show has a format. Have you noticed? I do the big stuff up front, take a break, and then I do esoteric stuff. That's a format. You just need a format. I don't open up this show going, hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. The Topeka, Kansas Comedy Festival features 7 people you've never heard of. I don't do it that way. There's an order to things. You have to have a format. Sims seems to agree, writing, some sense of organization can help shape an otherwise unformed snippet of conversation. And I like this last sentence from David Sims, who writes, perhaps Netflix's video-only podcast experiment. David, it's not a podcast. It's a television show. Let me clean it up for you. Let me make an edit on David Sims, what the sentence should say. Or perhaps Netflix's TV show experiment will go the way of many other such clones in this medium, which never took on board the lesson that podcasts require more than 2 microphones and a garage to actually be interesting. You can actually do it with 1 microphone in a basement. I'm opening up the Netflix app, and I'll see if the Pete Davidson television show is trending. Now, they keep changing the interface here. I've clicked on New and Hot. They want me to watch Gordon Ramsay and Mission Impossible and Iron Claw. Something about dinosaurs. Well, that doesn't seem to be charts. Where are charts, Netflix? They used to just have a big top 10 there. Oh, here we go. Top 10 shows in the U.S. today. This is 12:45 p.m. On Tuesday. Wrestling, Lincoln Lawyer, Bridgerton, Unfamiliar, Jeffrey Epstein something, His and Hers, which I liked at the beginning and then got terrible. Is It Cake? Oh, you people need to get a life. Alone, Free Bert, doing well at number 9. And The Way Home, none of that is the Pete Davidson television show. Interesting. I'm a bad host. Yesterday I did this wonderful rant about Mulaney versus Gianmarco, and I forgot to thank a listener. Now, the listener said, you can just say listener, but the listener sent this to me, or I wouldn't have caught it. So thank you, listener, for putting that. I still want to get a posse up. I don't hear it at all. In case you missed it, seems Mr. Birbiglia and Mr. Mulaney are not quite accusing Gianmarco Ceresi of ripping off the act. They didn't say who they think is ripping off Mulaney, but people seem to think they're implying that it's Gianmarco. I don't hear it at all. Comedy Survivor, join us in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. I was checking out the voting earlier today, and there's a lot of single votes all across the board. I don't know who's going this week. Some people are hanging back until end of day Thursday to get their votes in late and see if a little late rush can eliminate someone. No idea who's going. Late night weighed in on the Super Bowl halftime show. Greg Gutfeld told this joke. President Trump posted that Bad Bunny had one of the worst halftimes ever. I disagree. The worst ever was the 4 years of Joe Biden in between Trump. Now, Gutfeld, obviously, I didn't tell that well at all, because that Did you hear those words? That is a hilarious joke. The worst halftime ever was the 4 years of Joe Biden in between Trump. Hilarious. I mean, Gutfeld told it properly, got a huge laugh. I just didn't tell it well. But boy, that is just a well-crafted, not at all hacky joke from Greg Gutfeld. Eddie Murphy will team up with Eva Longoria in a new comedy movie being made by Amazon MGM. It is called Attachment Parenting. We're told Attachment Parenting has a vibe that throws back to another era of studio comedies. The project tells of a psychologist couple whose parenting philosophy is put to the ultimate test when they're forced to counsel a crime boss's dysfunctional family while being held hostage at a hotel. Okay. Kevin Hart, he likes to be in business with stuff. He has invested in Burn Bootcamp. The owners of Burn Bootcamp met Kevin Hart through mutual connections. CEO Morgan Klein said, "We could just sense there was a lot of shared values amongst one another. It was very clear that he didn't want to be a spokesperson, and that's not what we were seeking. He wanted ownership." Kevin has made a financial investment in Burn Bootcamp and will own a franchise in California. Kevin, in a YouTube video, apparently said, "Burn stands for what I believe in: structure, accountability, and results. My kids don't listen to what I say, but they watch what I do, and I want them to see discipline, commitment, and strength." Topps baseball cards have come out with a Jerry Seinfeld Mets card. It's Jerry Seinfeld wearing a Mets jersey and an off-brand Mets hat, and he's on the phone, presumably calling the bullpen. It's autographed. Topps said it was the biggest signing of the offseason. Collectors can buy a whole bunch of packs and hope one of the packs has an autographed card of Jerry Seinfeld. And the Traverse City Comedy Festival has announced their lineup. The festival is April 16th through the 18th. It's their 4th annual event. Headliners: Megan Statler, Sarah Sherman, Roy Wood Jr., Gary Goldman, and Joe DeVito. Nice lineup, gang. There will be comedians representing 33 states and Canada, which, if the president will get things done, and let's get going on this, I'll be able to just say representing 34 states, right? I'm skimming the names here. The headliners are pretty good. The other folks, I'm not sure any of these names you would know unless you're really, really a comedy snob. The festival will feature multiple improv and specialty programs. Show titles include Kamikaze Comedy, Big Fun Murder, Planet Ant, and That Thing You Pull When You Want It to Stop. There's also a roast battle and a comedy rumble. What's a comedy rumble? John, you're the one who hosts the show. I know. Let's see. Here's a comedy rumble that gives 8 comedians the chance to battle for progressively longer stage time across 3 intense rounds. Wait, this is fun. That sounds like a good time. And that's your comedy news for today. I'll catch you tomorrow.